I'm now being joined by the National Publicity Secretary of Ammban, Oluwasegun Elegbede. Many thanks for joining us on Business Insight and Plus TV Africa, Oluwasegun.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, it is our pleasure. Let's just dive straight into it now. You know, there have been talks as regards fake alert, and the House asked the central bank to introduce stringent regulations for POS business. As an association, Ammban, so what's your position on this recently? I know you had a briefing concerning that.
Yes, one of the reasons why we had that press conference was actually to put things into the right perspective. Some of those items that were mentioned in the motion actually not as it is. I would say in the motion it was alleged that POS operators, POS agents do fake alerts. For one, I can tell you that actually POS agents are victims of these fake alerts.
Explain, please.
Because it is the bad element in the public that come around pretending that they need cash. And they will tell you they don't have their ATM cards with them. They have perfected this cloning of fake alerts. And then most of the time they visit outlets where the owners of these outlets are not there, where they have, we use some staff. Most of them are school SATs holders. So when they visit, the staff will have to call the boss to know if the boss has gotten value for the transfer the customer claims to have made. And then, they do it in such a way that the owner will say to the staff that you can release cash. And then
but why would the owner say they can release cash when they actually haven't gotten alerts?
Because what they have done is to clone the alert of the banks. And they are suspecting owner of or even the agents. Sometimes they may meet the person himself at his outlet. What happens is that, in the rush to serve this customer, they exchange cash, and after they must have left, they discover that this customer has just come to dupe me. They have gone away. So we are actually victims of this crime, as being said at the floor of the House of Assembly by Honorable Olajide Jimoh. We acknowledge the fact that, yes, some of these things happened, but our members are actually victims. Number two that he said is that there are counterfeit notes. Yes, we have received a lot of incident cases from our members across the country where people, they'll come with large sum of money, they want to do quick transfers to get some goods and all of that, and they will wrap, fake notes, just few original ones on the top, and they just guard it somehow, and they use this they put pressure on the owner of the outlet to release cash. And these are things that as Ammban we try to train our members for. How to attend to customer, how not to be under pressure, so that you can be in charge, in control. When the customer walks into your outlet, you are not under his control. You need to be very calm in attending to them, so that you can actually get to see if you are collecting a counterfeit notes.
Let's talk about the counterfeited bills, for one more minute. And, you talked about how your association, that is Ammban, train members on how they need to, be calm so they don't fall victims. So over time, do you also train your members on how to identify these counterfeited bills when they're being presented to them?
Of course, that is one of the, we made in our meetings, we try to let them know the true features of the Naira notes, the different denomination, for them to be able to identify. And then we also have been able to get in some supplies of machines, the small ones at very reduced rates that they can even have at the outlets.
Okay.
And to also use to, validate if the notes they are collecting are counterfeited or not. So this is part of what the association is doing.
Okay, well, let's still talk about the sanity in this particular industry or association, as it were. Because if you look at it now, practically every street, every nook and cranny you go around Nigeria, you see POS operators or agents rather, mounting, their services, operating sometimes at very, secluded places. Sometimes are just umbrellas and chairs. Some do with the regular kiosk. But what is the standard really, and how do you ensure that there is sanity in the system? Because I also hear that you are starting some sort of a task force.
Let me say this: we are in agreement with the House to have some sort of sanity in our industry, in our business space. We are in agreement with them. If there's any stakeholder in this business space that has been clamoring for this enforcement of guidelines, it is Ammban. And so we are in agreement of that. And let me say this, in the motion, it was also posited that there are no guidelines. Our business is not an happenstance. It was a deliberate effort of the government to cushion the effect of poverty, and so to also deepen financial inclusion to the last mile. That was why this sector of the business was created. So having said that, there's a guideline. And so we also are of the opinion that the guideline must be strictly enforced. We understand when this started like 10, 11 years ago, before you can become a mobile money or bank agent, you must have a brick and mortar or kiosk. I mean, an address that is traceable, that if anybody has any issue, they can easily. In fact, at that time, you also would need a letter from the community head or your market leader to also identify you, that we know him, because you'll be dealing with the public fund. So what we have today, that we have agents under the umbrella, under the trees, are pure violation of the guidelines. And these are the things that we frown at our level, that if these are not nipped in the bud, we are sitting on the keg of gunpowder. And so the association wants this enforcement of the guidelines that we have, the framework of the CBN. However, what we don't want is that there shouldn't be any disconnect between the government and we that are really at the last rung of the ladder. We want them to sit with us, let them hear from us, so that we can give them the realities that is obtainable out there. They can't just make laws for us when they do not even understand how the business operates. So that is where we are. Okay.
All right, Oluwasegun, I'll take a quick break, but when I come back, I will also need you to, just give us some, clear way to go as regards some gray areas that people have talked about. For instance, there are talks about, the POS merchants always surrounding banks, and they allegedly make the ATMs not to work. It's still Business Insight on Plus TV Africa. We still have Oluwasegun Elegbede with us in the studios. We'll take a quick break and return with more. Do join us again.